Today I'm going to talk about social network in general, but maybe a little bit more specific to how to grow on it. And I'm going to use an example of how to grow on social media via a podcast because I happen to have a podcast for a little while. It didn't grow as much, but it was because we couldn't dedicate the time that it needed to grow. So this is how it's gonna go. Growing on social media is quite a difficult thing. It's not a straight line. It has a lot of variance, a lot of things that could go either way. You even need a little bit of luck. There are people who spend years trying to grow and they don't achieve anything. And even if the big channels and big people on social media were not made in a day, it takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and various strategies that you can make a good living out of it. And to make a great living out of it, it takes a lot more effort and a lot more time and very specific tasks. I will use YouTube as a main base to say the face of the social person or influencer, or however you want to call it. And let's say they have a podcast and they want to grow. This is a way very general because there's a lot of things and it's a work throughout the years, but to exemplify I will use YouTube. For starters, if it's a family friendly channel or family oriented or for everyone, it's a lot more easier because monetization in YouTube works a lot better and has less issues and less revises when you don't have bad words or explicit content. And if it's a little bit cliche, that's okay, but you need to be something that you actually enjoy, that it's genuine. You cannot grow with forced content. If you don't like it, the audience will know and it won't get through. You have to connect with people. But for starters, say you have a channel, YouTube, you regularly upload and you have good content. Now the difficult task is how to diversify your audience and how to attract more audience from other places, let's say from other social media. Doing announcements on Instagram, having an Instagram page is very popular amongst influencers. Everyone can do their own advertising through Instagram. It's a lot faster, it connects a lot more with people, and it's a very good option to do so. And the fact that you can do daily stories makes you connect a lot better with your audience. It makes them feel part of you and they get to know you a little bit more, or at least the part that you want them to see. This is a very good way to have a very loyal audience. This way they stay with you. You can also grow on Facebook. It's a little bit outside of the box. I think it's a great social media. You can monetize via Facebook. You can put little clips or the entire video, as we're talking about a podcast, so that's a good option because posting an entire video on Instagram is not really useful. You can maybe put clips or small parts or maybe announcements, but in Facebook you can put the entire podcast and it happens to work. But it's it's a social network that is not as active and has slowly decreased, and maybe during the next few years it will continue to decrease, but it's still a very good way of diversifying your audience. And finally, TikTok. This is maybe a social network that nobody knows how it's gonna go to the future. In the past of Vine, for example, it had a really big peak, but it slowly died. Maybe TikTok is not that propense to dying because it's a lot more used, but it's a great way, especially clips of the podcast, because you can attract people, and the fact that you can link your YouTube account to TikTok, it makes a lot of things easier. But this is a way and that you can connect with a lot more audience, because if you catch people quickly on TikTok, they might stay and they may be interested in your podcast. You have to be very constant. You have to work a lot. You have to be ready to sacrifice a lot of time, because if you want to do quality content, each time it gets a lot harder and a lot more time. And for you to grow exponentially and have people to help you, you have to have maybe products that you sell, you have to have subscriptions, a lot of things that can make you a lot more money. But if you want to start, the way is there is the part of growing on other social media so you can attract, and then you can move on to having a lot more things.